Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this webinar where we're going to show you a little bit about our D6 Plus system and how it can benefit your school. My name is Keith Smith. I am the head of sales here at D6. And joining me today is Kerry, and I'm going to give her an opportunity to chat to us a little bit later. But first, I wanted to talk a little bit about what D6 is about and where we come from. D6 has been in the South African schools market for almost 20 years now. We're probably best known for our school communicator product that's used by over 2,000 schools throughout South Africa, as well as a number of schools outside of South Africa. Our other product, the one we're going to be showcasing today, and Kerry's going to lead the charge, is our D6 Plus school administration system. It really is a system that can manage every aspect of a school. And this one's currently running in just a shade under 800 schools throughout South Africa, including the Western Cape. So we've got lots and lots of schools that are using our system. We've been around for a long time, and the system was actually developed in schools by schools. So it's not us coming up with a great product and then forcing it onto schools. It's really something that we work with schools with to ensure that it aligns with what the school's requirements are. And that's part of our DNA. You can see on the banner behind me, it says simplify life. And that's really what we're about, is simplify the lives of the people in schools to ensure that teachers aren't busy with admin, but they're in the classroom teaching. And not only do we simplify lives, but we want to add value to schools as well and make sure that they're as efficient as possible. And we're going to get into that a little bit later as well. But enough from me. I'm sure you don't want to listen to me. You probably want to listen to the pretty lady to my left here. Kerry, you are here to tell us about the admin module. But before we get to that, and I'm very interested to hear about all these modules and things, before we get to that, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Thanks for that introduction, Keith. So as Keith mentioned, my name is Kerry. I work in the sales team of D6. I have been at D6 for just under 18 months now, and my main area of focus that we assist schools with is in the Peninsula area. So I've got other colleagues that will be joining us on later on this webinar, but for myself, I work in the South Peninsula area, and those are the schools that I help the most.
So you have the joy of working with the schools in the southern suburbs and the City Bowl, all the way down to Simonstown. Okay, that's very interesting. Some very good schools out there.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you've been here for 18 months. So you joined us just as COVID said.
Yeah,
how are you doing?
Just as lockdown started.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes.
Those were fun times.
And we thought it would last 20 days.
Yes.
Little did we know.
Yes, how naive we were. We thought it'd be over in about a month or so. Okay, so as I mentioned, you're going to tell us about the administration module as well as the integrated communication module of D6 Plus. Before we actually get into the modules themselves, can you give us a brief overview of what the school administration system is about?
Sure. So what we aim to do with our D6 school admin system is to have a really effective and efficient way to manage schools. So we've done that by taking various elements of school management, and we've divided it up into 4 important modules that we use. So the sort of heartbeat of the system is our administration module, and that is required in order to have certain additional modules added. So we do have one module which we can have on its own, which my lovely colleague Annalyn will talk about a bit later, which is our communication. Communication is obviously pivotal in schools, so that we can do on its own. But with regards to other modules, they do need to work off a main system, which is our admin system, and that's what I'm here to chat about today. So administration is our cloud-based management system, and it really ensures that schools have systems in place to follow through and help them with all aspects of their management.
Okay, that's very, very interesting. What would you say is the benefit? Because you mentioned that it's 4 core modules that work with the system and that they integrated. So what is the benefit of having an integrated system like that?
Okay, so we have our systems integrated in order for schools to have less work to do. That is our main focus. So by saying that, what we mean is you'll be able to have one database where you need to keep control of, up to date with, make sure that the correct staff have the correct rights to, and all of that is done in one system. So instead of having multiple databases, one for one aspect of school management and another for another school aspect, we have one central system, which then when updates are done or when information is added, it pulls through and everyone is kept up to date and informed.
That's very good. I've been to a school where they have the system for communicating. They have another system for, which is the data warehouse, the admin part, another system to manage their curriculum, another system to manage their finances, and all these other systems. And none of them talk to each other. So what you're telling me is all these different modules talk to each other. So it saves time because you enter it in once. It probably also saves money because if there's, if there's a problem between different departments, say admin and finance, it never gets there.
Exactly.
And then maybe families don't get billed.
Things can get lost in the system. So when you have one system, you eliminate all of that and you can have peace of mind knowing that it is being looked after effectively.
And D6 Plus is that. So if you use the admin system, the finance system, integrated, knows about the families and the billing and everything, it's correct. Okay, that's very cool. It sounds like it's going to save quite a lot of time and effort, but you said something that immediately triggered a red flag in my mind. You said it's cloud-based.
Correct.
You can see this gray area is I don't purposely have it that way. What exactly is cloud-based?
Okay, so what we mean by that is as long as you've got a secure and safe internet connection, you'll be able to access the information you need. So there's no need for software to be installed on various staff's laptops or on various systems within the school. As long as there's an internet connection, anyone with the rights to access the information they're trying to will be able to do so. So by being cloud-based, benefits of that, your staff don't have to stay on after school in perhaps a dangerous scenario. Maybe there's only one or two staff in a big empty building, and those staff can therefore go home and continue doing the work they need to do. This we found was what schools really appreciated the most during lockdown. All the staff that were using our systems were able to continue with their workflow. They were able to update their systems as they required. No one actually had to go into the school building.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, it's hugely beneficial during something like COVID lockdowns and things because you're not allowed on the school grounds. And if it's in a file or on a local server, that's it. You can't do anything.
And it also helps with being POPI compliant in that sense. So you don't have to have files lying around and poor teachers carrying heavy baskets to their car. Everything is available on.
Okay, but as things online go, I mean, I'm thinking Facebook and things like this. How safe is this?
Okay, so our servers are based in Germany and have always been so. So what that means is we've actually been compliant with the European standards of GDPR for some time now. Whereas when the POPI Act came into being in South Africa, a lot of schools were maybe caught a bit out of place and they weren't sure where they fitted in. POPI is something that we've always been compliant with because our servers have been based in the European states. So yeah, we are, in our opinion, we are miles ahead in that aspect.
Yeah, and GDPR, if I recall, is General Data Protection Regulation, which is their version of POPI.
Correct.
And that actually came into force in 2017. So we've had to ensure that our system can comply with that back in 2017.
Already. So we're familiar with security concerns and we have many systems in place to ensure that we are compliant for our schools.
Yeah, so when POPI came along, we were pretty much 80%, 90% there.
Correct.
Okay, that's fascinating and it sounds like an amazing system. But tell us a little bit more about the administration module.
So when schools have the admin module, they're able to do things such as discipline and absenteeism in one central place. So for example, with our discipline, instead of having learners walking around perhaps with a little discipline book where certain teachers have to write in their discipline, something like this, when it's cloud-based, when a teacher adds on discipline, it pulls through onto the system and a staff member who's got discipline rights will be able to access whatever is there up to the minute. So discipline is important for our schools, absenteeism very important for the department to ensure that when they're needing or requiring their reports, at one or two clicks of the button, the absenteeism will be there. So that can be done either in classrooms or still maybe you have a staff in the front office that do it, but either way, it's still one central place. It's not registers and files being passed around. Okay,
now this is starting to scare me a little bit because I can remember when I was at school and I got a little disciplinary book or I was absent, no one really knew. The book got lost, and
Exactly.
Mum never knew that I was absent. Now, you spoke about an integrated communication module. If I get marked as being naughty, does it go to the integrated module and let my parents know?
It does. And just speaking from a personal point of view, I'm fortunate enough that the school that my two children go to use our full integrated system. So when they get a discipline notice or when there is absenteeism involved, I get a notification immediately. So if my child has been late for a certain period or class, or there's been disruptions in the class, if it's something negative, within 5 minutes of the teacher loading it on, actually even less, I've got a notification through my Connect app as a parent to know that that's what my child is up to. So there is no ways that a child can pull the wool over their parents' eyes and lose things and not send home things. It's all there in black and white, very transparent for everyone to see. And the nice thing about that as well, the discipline is part of it is code of conduct, and that can actually be set up that when discipline notices are received, automated emails can go out. So even if a parent chooses not to use our app, maybe they don't want to have things like that coming through on their mobile phone, if they prefer maybe email for a method of communication, then the school can set it up that when a child receives discipline notices or recognition notices, those can be pulled through and automatically sent out to parents in the method of communication that they choose. We feel with admin, it's really about keeping parents or keeping schools in control of things. So if you've got parents who have very specific needs or requirements, you can have that on the system, and we will make sure that we follow through on those.
Wowza, I feel really sorry for your sons. Goodness. I think if D6 Plus existed when I was in high school, I probably still wouldn't be able to sit. Okay, so now we've just touched on integrated communication. Tell us a little bit more about that. What is that about?
Sure. So with integrated communication, it means that schools can communicate to parents in whichever way parents choose to be communicated to. So if you've got a situation where you've got parents who like a specific method of communication, we can do that. And with the integration, if parents are using the Connect app, it means that things such as their finance, maybe the children's academic records, anything like that the school holds for them, a parent can access from the app, which is incredible. I mean, I can sit in my office at work and I can purchase my child a hot dog for a fundraiser by clicking 1 or 2 buttons. It immediately gets pulled through to the school, and within 2 hours, the child is sitting with their lunch. And for us, that is for busy working moms, that's amazing.
Okay, so you're telling me the integrated communication module, I can, obviously you mentioned that it sends me a notification with discipline, but I can see a disciplinary record.
Correct.
I can see marks and results, finances. I can see all of this on the app.
Correct.
And that's the integrated system. Yes. Now, I know there's a standalone as well, which is non-integrated. Can standalone do that?
Standalone won't be able to give you information specifically on something like finance if your school doesn't subscribe to finance. So there are certain restrictions in place, but for the majority of information such as communication, then certainly standalone is really beneficial for parents and for schools because you will be able to communicate directly to the parents.
Okay, well, Anneline's going to be around a little bit later to talk to us about standalone as well. But it sounds to me that the major benefit of using admin and communication in this situation is the integration, is the fact that once the children are loaded, all the channels and everything's already created, everything exists on the communication platform, and there's a lot of automation between the two as well. Whereas in standalone, by the sounds of it, it's not necessarily going to be automated because it doesn't have a disciplinary module to help the schools there. Okay, that is amazing. Thank you so much, Kerry. I appreciate the time you've spent with us to tell us a little bit more about the admin module. I do know that it is a fairly straightforward module, but there's so many features that if we really sat down and spoke about it, we'll still be here by supper time. So thank you so much for giving us the admin module in a nutshell. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to ask some questions in this webinar. We've got our subject matter experts standing by to answer any questions you do have. Or if you are interested, please contact us at sales@d6.co.za. or alternatively visit our website at www.d6.co.za. Thanks again.
Thanks, Keith.
Next up, we're going to head over to Pretoria, where our developer and product owner, or one of our developers and product owner in charge of both admin and curriculum, Rian, is standing by. Rian, this morning we could hardly hear you. Say hello to me.
Hi Keith, can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear, Meneer, and it's good to hear your voice again. Okay, so Rian, you're here to talk to us about curriculum. But before we get there, tell us a little bit about yourself. What are you and what do you do here in D6?
Thanks, Keith. I'm the product owner for the admin and curriculum modules in D6 Plus. This means I have to make sure that these modules serve the needs of our clients. And I do this by working with clients and the requests on our community forum and our internal departments to understand exactly what our schools need. Based on that, I prioritize the development requests and I do quality control to ensure that what we put out there is reliable and what schools actually need to use. I've been developing school administration software for 24 years now, and I remain passionate about it. It's always a challenging field and never a dull day. So yeah, it's a great field to work in.
Well, it is. It's great to hear about your experience with working with schools. I mean, 24 years developing these kind of systems certainly come with a lot of experience. So it's good to know that we're in safe hands when it comes to developing this system. But we've just heard Kerry explain a little bit about admin and the integrated communication. How does curriculum fit into what Kerry just told us?
Well, the admin module serves as a base for all the other modules in the system. All the data that is captured in the admin system is available and forms part of the curriculum module. So the curriculum module builds on top of that and allows users to capture, for example, subject choices, then marks, comments, and then to generate report cards, for example, in registered class groups, or per grade based on combining the admin data and the curriculum data. We can also generate certificates, lists and statistics, and the curriculum data also flows back into the admin system, such as the promotion decision for the year-end rollover. As a cloud-based system, D6 Plus can effectively distribute the work of capturing marks to each educator. It's not necessary to have just a few people in the admin office do all the capturing of marks. That's a huge bottleneck. So we've got an online system that any number of users can use, and the system works with user rights. So there are fine-grained marks capturing rights, which ensures that educators can only see or capture the marks that they are responsible for. However, if schools prefer to centralize marks capturing, those options are still available as well.
Wow, that is an impressive resume for our curriculum module there. Thank you, Rian. Now, the schools that are joining us are from the Western Cape, and I know the very first thing they're going to ask you is CMIS. Why should they use D6 Plus? What does it offer that CMIS doesn't?
D6 Plus is a real school administration system, not just a departmental reporting system. It provides comprehensive functionality for schools, and it provides what schools need to operate efficiently, not only what the department needs for their purposes. So D6 Plus focuses on making life easier for schools, and we assist as far as we can with reporting to the department. Some of the areas where our system stands out is in maintaining historical information, such as report cards for previous years, financial information for previous years, and we're also strong in electronic communication abilities, such as sending emails, sending report cards via mail, sending discipline reports, or sending SMSs to parents. And finally, our support to our schools is one-on-one personal support, and we pride ourselves on the quality of our support.
That is fantastic. And I love hearing about the report cards and the support and all this. And I'm definitely going to ask you a couple of more questions about those aspects. But before we get there, in your mind, what would you say would be the biggest benefits with using our curriculum module?
Keith, the recording and reporting of learner performance is too big a job to do effectively without a quality system. You need some kind of curriculum system. Now, D6 Plus streamlines the whole process, from the capturing of learners through to their subject choices and subject groupings, capturing the marks and the comments, and finally generating your reports and your schedules and statistics and certificates. We follow departmental policies and publications very closely, and we built the system to work the way South African schools do. That means things like the NPPPR policy, the national policy pertaining to the promotion requirements of learners, that is built into the system. However, the system is also very adaptable to different situations. We don't just support CAPS, we've also got IB schools, Cambridge schools, Elsin schools, and even foreign schools using the system.
Wow.
Because everything is configurable. You're not stuck with the official subjects that the department provides. You can add in enrichment subjects. You can modify how marks and promotion decisions are calculated. Everything is adjustable, and that makes it very suitable for different situations. As I said before, we also have very strong communication abilities with the emailing of report cards, and marks can also be viewed by parents in the D6 Connect app, just like they can view absenteeism and discipline. Schedules and statistics can be exported to Excel. And a lot of other reports are also Excel enabled. That makes it easy to get the data out of the system and use it for your own purposes. You can filter and sort. You can do mail merges, all kinds of additional benefits. We also have built-in SMS functionality, which is very effective at reaching parents. During lockdown, the ability to communicate electronically was literally a lifesaver.
Goodness. It sounds like the curriculum module can do everything. Can it clean my house, maybe wash the dishes, anything like that?
No, not yet.
Not yet. I like that. I like it. But I'm going to ask you something now that I often get from schools, because one of the big pains that schools experience is closer to the end of the year when it comes to prize giving days and things like that. It's lots of lists and lots of data, lots of things they have to look into to award certificates or something. Can this system, this curriculum module, can it assist with something like prize giving days?
Definitely. We've got the ability to generate certificates, and it's based on criteria which a school can define themselves. Once you set up the criteria, it will automatically compile the certificates. So once your marks are done, your certificates are done as well. You basically just need to print them.
So no more meetings and hard work to find out who was the best in maths. You just click a button and it tells you.
It's in the system. The system knows. So you can easily print those lists.
Wow, massive time saver. Okay, you spoke about report cards earlier, and I promised you I'm going to get back to this. Every school I speak to believe their report card is the best report card in the universe ever. Does the system allow schools to adjust the report card template so that it looks just like the way they want it?
We've got a report card template editor that allows them to adjust the templates within a framework that we provide. So not every possible report card or any possible layout, but there's a lot of flexibility in the templates that we provide. You can modify the format and the layout, how you want to display your marks, for example, percentages or levels or both, whether you want to show promotion decisions, whether you want to print remarks on the report. You can choose whether you want to print just subject marks or every task, every assessment. just for one term or multiple terms. We can do automatic circling of marks. You can assign comments to learners either individually or for a group of learners. We can do learner and grade averages, and those are just the most common functions. There's a lot more options in the template setup.
Okay.
We also have functionality for effort ratings, which is quite popular in foreign countries. It allows schools to indicate how much effort a learner put into achieving their marks. We know for some learners, a 50% mark might be an achievement and achieved through hard work, while other learners might sleep through class to achieve that. So it's often valuable to know how much effort they put in as well.
Yeah. Rian, you strike me as somebody that could sleep through class and get 100%.
No, not at all.
Okay, so Kerry mentioned it a bit earlier, and I thought to myself, this is something I need to ask you about, and it's about assigning rights. So specifically about adding marks into the system. If, as a teacher, let's say I'm the maths teacher, I add my class's marks into it, can the entire school, everybody that has access to the system, see the marks I've added in?
It depends on what the school wants. We've got fine-grained marks capturing rights. So if the school or the administrator wants to open the marks for all the educators, that's possible. But if they prefer to set up separate capturing rights for every teacher, that certainly can be done. The default in the system would be for every teacher to only see their marks. We also provide options for subject heads, which allow them to see all the marks of their subjects. So those two roles, the educator and the subject head, is set up automatically. And any additional marks capturers can be added to the system. With that, schools have the flexibility to completely control who can see and or edit the marks.
Okay. You also mentioned support, and I know a lot of schools are always wary with buying any kind of product because they get sold a product and then people disappear, they don't get support. So if, for example, it's the end of the year, I've got report cards and submissions I need to make to the DOE and stuff, and I need help, what can I expect? Will D6 be there to help me?
Definitely. Support is a big thing. You can have the fanciest system in the world, and if it's not supported, then when it's crunch time and you need help and you don't get it, that system is not going to mean anything. So we really work hard to support our schools as well as we can. We've got a dedicated support team that is always on standby and provides one-on-one support. So schools send in an email and they get contacted back by the support client. They can also call in after sending the mail to speak telephonically to one of our support agents. And we've got additional departments that focus on specific areas that schools need more attention with. So we've got a compliance department which focuses exclusively on departmental requirements, and an enrichment department who works to help schools get the most out of the system. They can even do some of the work for schools, such as curriculum maintenance. We provide maintenance plans for schools who want to take advantage of that. Now, my development team and I work very closely with all of these departments to ensure that we stay close to what the schools need at different times of the year, and to make sure that the system remains productive and online at all times.
That is amazing. Thank you, Rian. We've unfortunately run out of time and we have to move on to our next segment, but that was a fascinating look at what the curriculum module can do for schools and how it can save them time, make them more efficient, and simplify their life. Thank you very much. Enjoy the nice warm weather in Pretoria while you have it. There's a cold front on the way.
Will do. Thanks, Keith.
Thank you, Rian. Next up is Don, that's going to have a chat with us about finance. But before we get to Don, I just want to reiterate what Rian has said about our support. I happen to know that the developers actually sit in the in the support room as well. So the people that actually build the product is part of our support team as well. So really, there's not a question you can ask that they won't be able to answer. Hello, Don. How are you doing?
Hi, Keith. Fine, and yourself?
I'm very, very well, thank you. Let me quickly introduce you to our attendees. Don is the legend of the company that actually started D6 Plus way back in the days when it was still called Principal Primary. Really led this product to where it is today. And you're here today to talk to us about the finance module, which is, as Kerry explained, one of the modules that forms part of D6 Plus. It's always fascinating to listen to you. So Don, I'm going to hand you the mic. Please show us what Finance Plus can do.
Thanks, Keith. I'm just going to quickly share my screen here and just confirm that you can see that.
Yes, it is saying that it is loading it. It should be. There we go. I can see you.
Okay, so I think I'm going to start off with something like a little bit of a comparison, because I think the majority of schools that is looking at the demonstration today typically are using proper accounting software like Pastel or Sage or QuickBooks or one of those. So what I've done here is basically just to compare some functionality which that systems provide. So just for clarity, we are doing at least what the basic other financial systems are doing. But as you can see, in terms of general ledger, there's a lot of more functionality which we include, and it's because the product has been developed in schools, with schools, for schools, that we identified the needs specifically of schools and included that in the module as well. The items that's linked blue or highlighted in blue, we'll try and show that to you quickly today, and there's a couple of time savers. I'm just going to quickly go through them. We've got a data handover functionality which separates the debt managed by the school versus the debt managed by third-party debt collectors. You can create as many debt collectors as you want, and all of those debts will be managed separately with separate reporting, etc. System integrates with all the South African banks, so you never ever have to capture a bank statement again or worry about a duplicate transaction or maybe missing a transaction. So all of that functionality comes standard. If your school has got a debit order system, one of the big time savers is the automatic receipting of debit orders and handling the rejection transactions automatically. So instead of running typically how the Pastels of the world is working is with recurring batches. So we don't work with that because of the integrated nature of the modules linked to the admin. If a learner asks for a transfer card and he's on a debit order, automatically the learner will be removed from the next debit order run if his account is up to date. So it's that type of integration that is really going to add value to you. So that's a couple of time savers. Let's quickly look at a couple of the small functionality items that is really going to, we believe, change the way how you perceive the system and how it could potentially help you. I think the first thing that I want to demonstrate is that the system never archives any information. So the first school, which started in 2006 with our product, they basically now have 15 years of comparative information, and they can do any, specifically from a financial perspective, this is very valuable. So the one key thing that I just want to quickly show you in terms of when you look, this is our little finance module. It's got the general ledger, the cash book, the debtors, the creditors, and the whole budget. But if we typically just look at something like our account statements, for example, we can go back up to 2006, and this will grow as your school. If you only start in 2022, then obviously you're going to start building history from that date. But if we go back to the year 2009, and I just want to show you my family code, in that year, that was my eldest daughter, named Elsie, and normally our school work is that you know the eldest learner's name of the family. So when the next one comes, you will, start to adapting to those new names. So then, just by way of demonstration, 2 years later, then the name is automatically updated to the eldest learner's name. And if we move a couple of years later, then you will see that that name is again changing. Just a couple of other nice features is if you look at our receipting system, for example, we've got specific receipts where we can, which works like a school is working. So you can do a receipt, let's say by project or by register class. So let's say typically you're sitting and it's specifically also in the primary schools, they're working with these money bags that still runs around. And if you specifically say, let's say it's for this specific project, then automatically it will bring the list of names. And as you select these and this and this and this learner has paid, there's options to also print separate receipts for each learner, which the normal accounting systems doesn't allow for these type of level of detail to be captured. So when we get to a lot of schools, they normally do their fundraisers in a 5-liter ice cream tub and put all the money in and whatever, and they pay all the expenses, and whatever is left, they literally just capture one transaction for that. So with this system, it really is going to change the way how you start capturing transactions, and the level of detail that you can capture is it's going to change the way how you then can obviously then report. So let's quickly just have a look. I think you have mentioned that we've got an integrated communication application. So I'm just going to quickly show you the project functionality of the module. So we can create a new project. To create the project is literally, and the project can be anything. So we're just going to do today a Western Cape demo project.
Don, a project would be something like a tour or something, right?
It can be anything. It can be a tour, it can be an excursion, it can be, let's say you want to build a new facility, a school hall, you can create a project for that. Then people can donate money into the project and you can pay expenses from the project, and you can always see what is the balance of that project. So being the financial people that's listening to this now, a project is running on the balance sheet up until the point at which you decide that you want to close the project, and in which case that project will be moved either to the income statement or balance sheet, depending on where you want your project's funds to go. So you can have multiple projects which accumulates to one bigger project. You can do that as well, or you can say this is a rugby tour for the first team and they're going to Durban, for example, and then you can select your learners, and you can close that project to something like the rugby budget item, if I may say it like that. So if it makes a profit, rugby is going to have more money. If it makes a loss, it's going to eat away some of that budget that you've got available. Then the next thing, you're going to choose your project manager, which is obviously the list of all your teachers already in the system. There you choose your control account on the balance sheet and your income statement account where the profit or loss, as I just explained. Then the next important one is to say whether the project has a specific amount. So let's say, just for example, today everybody's got to pay 500 Rand. And then to link learners to the project, we can link learners on multiple ways. So you can either link it per learner. So if you've got the names of that 15 first team players, you can select them manually. Or what you can do is you can link it per register class or grade. And what you also can do is you can do it per channel. So you can say, I want to everybody that's got accounting in term 3. If there's learners there, the names will be to the left, and you can then just select them. So this is again integration from the communication module that you can integrate with and then make it easier. Just for way of quick demonstration, my learner is, I think, in grade 11 on the demonstration system. So let's say all those learners must participate in the project, and we're going to create this project. Now, the first thing that always comes to mind is how much is the total budget that we've got available. And the majority of schools runs these projects in something like Excel, and normally everybody's got to take their small receipt and go to the educator and tell him, sir, I've paid for the project, and he goes and he marks it, etc., etc. But we are changing the whole way how that thing is working. So you can go onto your project, there's your project, and when you look at your total, there you can see already there is some people that have already paid into my project, but let's say who has paid. If I click on it, you can immediately see the total budget for our project is 22,500, and there's the list of names. So this is all the grade 6 till 12s, which I've selected. Now, you can see that there's already 2 parents that have paid, and I'm going to show you just now. Some of you might think that it's a little bit too quick, but let me quickly show you how this is working. So what actually happened in the back end, because of the integrated nature, I'm just going to quickly start the screen of mine again so you can see my phone again. Just a second, there it should be there. Right, and if I open my D6 Connect application, then automatically what happened is that you will see there's my list of normal news items. So this is the normal communication that you send through to the app, up to the parent. But now, because of the integrated nature, I now got what we call a payment card. And then you can see Western Cape demo project for 500 Rand. Now I can go in there, open it up, and now this is the user experience from a parent side. So let's say now I only have 300 Rand. I can select 300 Rand, proceed to pay, and I can pay 300. It will go into my wallet, see that I've got money available, and the parent can just hit pay. So what happens in that the system has now automatically issued the receipt for my learner. So my learner's name is Kari for Mark. So if I'm going to go to my home, and I'm going to go to my projects, then you will be able to see on that project there's 1,300 Rand already there. And then you will see, oh, there's 2 people that has already paid the 500. I've paid my 300 Rand, and the receipt number has been automatically issued. So the whole process of receiving funds is totally automated. The bank reconciliation process of this money is totally automated. And I think when the people from the Secret Wallet speaks a little bit later, they can elaborate a little bit more on that. So just that you understand, we create a separate cash book inside your chart of accounts. And then this 300 and this 1,300 Rand is basically now sitting in that cash book. And once a week, we transfer the money back into your F&B or ABSA account. Right, so if we then again goes to who has paid and who hasn't paid, there's the list, and then you can see there's my learner's name. I've paid 300 Rand, and just for completeness, just going to quickly finish this payment. Now it says 200 Rand, and if I proceed to pay, then obviously the rest just happens. And what is also nice is that inside the app, it gives me a little payment card which says at the top there, you should be able to see now, thank you for your payment. And we also then email the receipts to the specific parents. So yeah, this is in a nutshell some functionality that may save you a little bit of time. So we can just go for completeness. Let me just show you the little project there. And now you see there's the 1,500, and now my learner's name should also be listed as not highlighted, and then it's quite easy to identify these transactions. So I think, Keith, in a nutshell, there's a lot more that we can. I'm just going to stop my screen at this point. So I think there's a lot more that we can show, but I think at the end of the day, it's about the integrated nature of the various modules, which is, this is the reason why a school should actually look at an integrated financial module, is because it's really going to take your school to the next level in terms of what you can achieve.
Thank you, Don. You're absolutely right. What I got from there is that, firstly, once the learner's loaded, they load it onto the finance module. And for things like projects and billing and all this, it kind of happens in the background. You don't have to have someone capture all the names. And when it's something like a project or even school fees, if it gets paid from the integrated communication module, it's done. It's recorded in the finance module. It doesn't need more work.
Yes, it's 100% true like that. So if a parent pays, you're in control as a school as to whether you want to accept payments via the D6 Connect app or not. So let's say you've got a project and specifically you don't want to include that project for cashless payments, you've got the option to do that. We do have a lot of schools, they include all their projects for cashless payments, but their school fees, they still prefer some of the schools to say you can pay this only by EFT. But it's up to the school to say they want to do that or not.
That is brilliant. Thank you so much, Don. I appreciate you spending some time with us to tell us more about the finance module. And as Don has said, it's quite a big module as well, and it'll take much more time to go into detail of all the other functions. But as you showed in the beginning, Don, pretty much what Pastel can do, we can do, and then so much more.
Yes, no, thank you very much. And I think at the end of the day, our process-driven process in terms of giving you a list of tasks of you've receipted money over the counter, it's assisting you to basically just do your job properly. And if you just look at your daily tasks from the financial module side, it's really going to take your school to the next level. So thanks very much for the opportunity, Keith, and I hope some of the schools saw something that they might be interested in.
I'm sure they will. Thanks, Don. Have a good day. Okay. Now, something Don showed while he was doing his demonstration on the finance module really got my interest, and that's why you're here.
Yes.
Don made payments and did everything, and there was no need for cash or banks and all kinds of stuff. So I'm joined here by Melissa, who's from Stickit.
Yes.
And first, you're going to tell us who's Stickit and what have you got to do with D6?
What have we got to do with D6? Interesting question. So D6 is a third-party payment processor. So our main focus is within the payment ecosystems within the education industry. So we work alongside you guys, D6, to reduce the dependency on cash and card payments through our wallet-based payment platform, Stickit Pay.
Okay, so we're in partnership. We make the beautiful systems, you process the money.
Besties, yes.
Yes, sounds great. Okay, you've got something to show us.
I do, yes. So I have a little presentation here for you that I'm going to go through. I already told you who we are. Can you see my screen?
It's not sharing at the moment.
Let me just do that again.
And it's saying almost. We're going to get there in a second. Great old technology, always a standby.
Always.
There we
go. Awesome. Okay. So I basically told you a little bit about us. So what we aim to do and what we've spent a lot of time doing and what we continue spending a lot of time doing is trying to understand the frustrations that a lot of schools face. So things like reducing how much time they spend on admin, reducing alternative costs to costly card machines, and obviously another great one is reducing the risk of cash on campus.
Yeah, and I mean, the news is filled with people robbing schools because they're soft targets and there's children.
Yes.
So effectively what you're telling me is this will take cash off campus.
Yes.
For everything.
For everything.
Tuck shop as well.
Tuck shop as well.
Lovely.
Yes. So basically our solution covers all aspects within the school. So things like school fees, ad hoc payments like projects, outings, fundraisers, school events, and then on-campus payments like your tuck shops and your clothing stores.
You said school fees. So I can pay my school fees on the D6 Connect app.
Correct. Yes.
All of it.
All of it.
What if I want to make part payments? Can I do that?
Yep.
Wow.
Yes. So basically, like Don showed earlier, when you just go and pay, it's in the same area. You would just go and make payments. Just no way.
What kind of hardware or software do I need to make this work?
So there's no additional hardware for the school, and there's no additional for ad hoc payments. So if your tuck shop or clothing store is on board, they don't need any physical hardware, and then there's no additional software for the school.
So what you're telling me is if I've got the integrated Connect and I've got it in my app, I've got access to cashless.
Yes.
Wow.
Easy peasy. So all our software runs on iOS and Android, so it's easy to get going. There's no little extras that you need to do.
Very cool.
Yes, it is. And like I said, we are fully integrated, so it doesn't matter which module you have, whether it be D6 Finance or D6 Communication, it's all in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So my favorite part that I'm going to show you is we have the fast payment option. So we've got tap to pay, scan to pay, and a lot of our schools are also now doing online stores. So their clothing stores are now becoming online. Very cool. But I'm going to show you how it works if you were, for instance, using it in a tuck shop environment. I'm just going to log in here so I can share my cell phone with you.
Okay, so when you say tap to pay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to keep it. Keep it.
Not keep it forever, but you can keep it for now.
It's mine now, ownership and all that. So what you're telling me is you can get your child a wristband like this.
Correct.
And when they go to the tuck shop, they just tap and pay.
Just tap and pay.
And I noticed you said it's got a QR code as well. So if you've got, say, a soapbox derby and there's a pancake stall, they just need the QR code and the parents can just scan and pay.
Yes.
A lot like SnapScan or Zapper.
A lot like SnapScan or Zapper. So if you are, like you said, if you have a sports day at school and there's quite a few different vendors, they can each just get a QR code, display it at their stall, and then parents can come scan it, pay. Off you go. No cash.
No cash.
No cash.
No need to make sure you've got enough 1 rands and 2 rands for the change either.
No.
Now, the most important question I have to ask you is how much money is on you?
Mine currently?
Yes.
I can't share that with you.
But I want to go to the tuck shop. I haven't had something good to eat today, so
you want to just go to the tuck
yeah, I think we should. So how many schools currently use the system? Do you know?
Quite a few. A
Okay.
lot of our schools use the system. I'm so sorry, I'm having a little issue here.
Yeah, it seems like we're having some technical issues. So maybe let's just go on with the presentation you've had, because Don has showed us a little bit about how it works
Yes, I really want to
and
show
how to transact.
the scan to pay.
Nah, don't worry about it.
So another option that we have is obviously our pricing options. You're probably wondering how much it's going to cost.
Yes.
There's no sign-up fees and there's no monthly fees. So payments option 1 is a 2.5% transaction fee. So for every transaction that the school does, it's 2.5%. The second one is a fixed monthly fee option, which has unlimited payments.
Is this Vodacom unlimited or unlimited?
Unlimited. So if the school does like 10,000 transactions, it's 10,000.
Okay, so if I pay 100,000 rands worth of school fees, there's no additional charges to that.
No.
Sure. There's not a lot of people that can offer that kind of environment.
No.
I've heard you've got quite an innovative way of launching the system on schools.
Yes.
So just tell me a little bit more about how that one works.
So we usually suggest when the schools just start out is going on the 2.5 system. Obviously, it's technology. So lots of people take a lot of time to get used to technology. So once you see the uptake is a lot higher, then we definitely recommend moving on to the fixed monthly payments.
Okay.
Yes.
Just now I asked you if there's schools using it, and you said there's quite a few schools.
Yes.
But do you have an example for us of a school that's currently using the cashless environment?
Yes, we do. So Paul Girls High, amongst a lot of other schools, are a great example of how they, to their own benefit, have adopted our solution to fit them. So one that I really like is that the finance administration staff are performing 50% less payment reconciliation work. I don't know about you, but I don't like.
No,
a lot of people don't like admin.
No. I'd prefer no admin.
Yes.
I mean, if the system's gonna do the admin for me, I'm all for
That's
it.
great. And we have also significantly reduced cash and card payments on campus, which is good. And then we have also reduced foot traffic and queues at the cafeteria and the clothing store by 30%.
The Ball Girls loves you. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, so now I've bought all the systems and I've done all this. Again, Who's going to help me if things don't work?
We are actively involved from onboarding and right through your continuous rollout of Stick and Pay.
Wow,
Yes.
that is amazing. Thank you,
Use
Melissa.
me or our support team are on board all the time.
Wow, thank you so much,
It's
Melissa.
a pleasure.
That was
I'm so
amazing.
sorry
I'll
for
just
frustrating
hold on to this for
No.
now. Possession 9/10 of the law. No, you can keep that. I'll get my Smarties afterwards. So thank you so much for showing us how cashless works.
Thank you so much.
Now, what we've seen to this point are the core modules. We've spoken about admin, curriculum, and finance, and we've seen how cashless integrates with our integrated communication system and how you can effortlessly make payments, and we don't need to capture all of those payments because the system does it automatically. So that's a massive benefit in terms of time saving and cost saving already. And I'd go as far as saying that probably just that would save you enough money to afford the system. But what if you don't want the system? You just want to have something that can communicate with your parents. And for that, my colleague, Annalene, is going to have a chat with us about what we like to call standalone. Hello, Annalene. How are you doing?
Hello, Keith. Very well, and yourself? Thank you.
Very, very well, thank you. So, Annalene, before we get into products and standalone and stuff, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do here at D6?
Okay, so I'm an account executive at D6, and the schools that I take care of are situated in the West Coast area and the northern suburbs.
That is fantastic. I love the West Coast, so I don't need an excuse to head out there. But now we're talking about standalone. We've been speaking about integrated the whole time. So that's one product. Now, standalone is a different one. What is it about?
Okay, so like all my colleagues explained, you get the D6 plus school management system, and then you get the standalone system, and that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about today. So I'm just going to take a step back to give you a clearer view of how the standalone came about. The school communicator, which a lot of the schools know, it's that little blue app logo. A lot of schools perhaps still use the communicator, and everyone has definitely seen it. So that was our first communication platform that we used. And then, catering to a growing demand for a total school management system, the D6 Plus integrated school management system was designed, and that's what my colleagues discussed previously. And then we had a few communication challenges, and that guided us to improve on the old communicator. We sat with schools, we listened to them and their challenges experience, and then D6 created the standalone version from the D6 Plus integrated platform. And this app is called the D6 Connect. So it is a communication module on its own, which is not part of the D6 Plus school management system, but should a school needs change, it can integrate and pull into the management system. So it's separate in a communication module on its own, but it can be integrated at a later stage should the school's needs change, and then you can just add modules to that. It's an authenticated app where mostly schools, but also businesses and churches can communicate with their community. And it's a system that specializes in communication on one platform, being able to reach a very broad spectrum community environment at once. The standalone is the upgraded version of the school communicator, which I just spoke about. It's got new and extra functions and many improvements. And just keep in mind that if you look at the standalone, and I'm going to share something very exciting about the standalone with you shortly, well, at the end. If you look at the standalone system, and yes, it's a communication platform on its own, please keep in mind, should your needs change ever in the future and you need the curriculum, you need the finance modules, it can be integrated into the D6 Plus management system.
Okay, so it sounds very good, but can you explain to me how would a school use it to actually communicate with parents?
Yes, so Kerry did touch on this briefly. I'm going to give you some examples, not all of the communication aspects, but some of the most important points. The school can send out news items to parents on the app. For example, the netball is cancelled today because of the rain. And on this function, on this news item that you send out, the school can ask questions, and the parents can answer these questions through the app. And this also replaces reply slips from parents. And because of this answer reply function, it can also facilitate elections. And then you also get the multi-platform communication function, where it allows you to communicate with your parents via the app, via email and SMS. And you can use the methods that D6 has made available on the app for you. For example, if the school chooses the least costly method, it will cover everyone that is registered on the app first, and then it will target those that have emails, and then lastly, it will target the last few parents via SMS. We would like to keep the SMSs to a minimum, because that does cost the school 29 cents per SMS. So first app, then email, then SMS, and none of this means any duplication of work. And you can also add attachments to these messages, and you can add links, and then also you can create calendars, which the parents will receive through the app. And on these different calendars that the schools have created, you can add events. So for example, you can create a rugby calendar, and then the match, which you will insert into the calendar and send out to the parents, that will be the event. And then the address of the match will be sent directly to the parents through a pin location. And then the attachment that you will add to this calendar will be the program for the rugby match. And then you can also add resources to your calendar with attachments and links, and examples of resources are policies and newsletters and homework for the learners as well.
Goodness, it can take care of everything.
Yes.
But I'm going to tell you right now what a lot of people in schools thinking. They're saying we've got our communicator or whatever we're using, it's running nicely. Now we're going to have to move to a new system. Do we have to capture the database and all the parents and everything by ourselves, or is D6 going to help us?
Okay, so it's a one-liner answer. It's very, very simple. We provide the school with an Excel template, and then they add the database, and it's imported into the system. Quick sticks.
Okay. Something I've heard from people as well with the systems they're using at the moment, whether it's WhatsApp or a different kind of communication medium, is that it's a broadcast. So you send it to everybody. So if you don't even have a daughter, you get the netball message. Will Connect do the same thing?
Okay, so no. Luckily, like I said previously, we listened to the challenges that schools experience, and we improved on that. So with the D6 Connect app on this platform, you can communicate with specific groups or channels, as we like to call them, that the school has set up. This makes the information to the recipients much more relevant. So that means that a netball mom will not receive rugby information, or the grade 8s won't receive matric exam information. So it's relevant, and it's through certain channels, and parents subscribe to certain channels that the school have linked them to.
And you mentioned earlier that it's authenticated, and what I assume that means is that we actually identify that the parent is on the database, so they're authenticated as being a parent in the school. And I assume that means that an outside person can't access sensitive information in the school.
Absolutely correct. The POPIA compliance, one of the things that we had to bring into play here, much more strict. And so you have to be a registered parent. Your cell phone has to be loaded onto the system, and the school had to send you your login details to be able to use the platform. So only registered parents will receive information through the channels that they are linked to.
Okay. My second to last question to you: on what platforms can you access D6 Connect?
Okay, so you can either download the app on your desktop. So if you're on your computer at work a lot, you can use that platform, or you can log into the web portal in a browser. And obviously the most popular one is our mobile app for your phone. And then I'm proud to say that we have over 1 million end users that's currently using the D6 Connect.
Yes, 1 million end users and almost 2,500 schools. So it is very impressive. Now, before I let you go, you said you've got some exciting news, and I'm not going to let you go until you tell me what that is.
Yes, please do not, because it's very exciting. So some of our schools have heard about this throughout the month of August, but not everyone, and I need to share it with you today, please. What we did for the month of August, we had a COVID relief special. What it entails is free training, free implementation, as well as a R0 monthly rate for the rest of the year. So this means that any school that signs up in the month of August for this D6 Connect standalone module, your once-off fee is free, and then your monthly fee is free for the remainder of 2021 for the rest of the year, and then your first installment only be January 2022. So it's something that's only offered for the month of August. It's a special that won't be extended, unfortunately, but we still have a few days left. So if this is something that you would like to try for the rest of the year, absolutely free of charge, it's a great way to learn the system, to get all your users registered, to get all the educators familiar with the platform and how to use it. So for the rest of the year, it's not going to cost you a cent. And then should your needs change next year or whenever in the future, you can upgrade to all your other modules. But this is a nice time to make use of the special so you can play with the system, get used to it, get all your parents on it, and then, I mean, you've literally got nothing to lose. It's free of charge.
That is amazing news. So schools that are interested to try the standalone, not the integrated, so the standalone, have about a week to sign up with us and they get it for free.
Yes.
Does that include data conversion? Because I know that's quite a lengthy and time-consuming process. Would that
Yes.
be free as well?
Okay, so Keith, the only thing, and it's not a trick because some schools will get it for free. The only thing that is not included in this, so you get your training, you get your implementation, you get the monthly fee for the rest of your free of charge. But for larger schools with many learners, over I would say over 600 or 700 learners, the task of the data conversion manually for the school itself might be too great, and then we can do the data conversion at a very small rate. I mean, I've done many quotes this month for schools. It's a very, very small rate. Just to take that effort away from the school, then we can do that. So the only fee which will be applicable is that small data conversion fee. But if you're not a big school, I mean, it's literally something you can do yourself.
Brilliant. Thank you, Annalene. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Keith.
the time you spent with us to tell us about standalone and this very special offer. So if you're listening to what Annalene just said and you are interested, please drop us a message at sales@d6.co.za or visit our website at www.d6.co.za. You'll find all of our products there and probably a lot of your answers as well. Please feel free to ask us answers or ask us questions in the chat of this webinar as well. If you should have any questions, we've got subject matter experts on hand, just bursting with excitement to answer your questions. But please drop us a line at sales@d6.co.za if you have any other questions. Thank you, Annalene. I'm going to
Thank
leave
you.
it for now. Thank you. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, we've got these great products and we're used by many schools. So don't take our word for it. If you'd like some references or testimonials, we'll be more than happy to provide you with those as well. So please don't take our word. Contact us and ask for those testimonials. We'll be happy to do it. I mentioned a bit earlier that it's not just about products. We're really, really dedicated to making schools more efficient and to enable them to achieve their goals as well. And joining me right now is one of my colleagues, Werner, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about how the schools can actually create new income streams from our products. Hello, Werner. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Keith. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks. I hope that this could add to what Annalene was speaking about as well, because from a D6 group side, it has been the dream of our CEO to really keep on giving back and come up with initiative ways and initiatives to actually start giving back more and more through other methods as well. And one of these methods we came up with is called the media advertising platforms, what we have. Now, how that would work is each and every time which you see a little banner running and scrolling on the D6 communicator, the app itself, that is what we be calling the industry an impression. Those impressions are recorded via our ad server, and what we then do is we come up with a very nice way to give back to the schools by taking those impressions, adding an amount to them, and we start giving X percentage back to the schools. Now, these percentages are linked to various levels. If you've got your communication up and running, your communication, which you guys are chatting about now, the D6 Connect app installed, you will automatically qualify in a level 2, and you get up until 10% of the revenue that's been generated from the media revenue get paid back to the schools. These levels go up to level 6 if and should you get all the modules active and activate them at the schools, you qualify up to 40% reward system, or up to 40% rewards back to the schools. That will give you a level 6. So it's a good way of D6 giving the school the opportunity to actually start funding and substituting those monthly costs for any product which they invest in with D6.
Werner, you had me at 40%. So what you are telling me is if I've got admin, curriculum, finance, and integrated communication, you're going to give me a 40% cut of the advertising we do on the school's app.
Of the revenue that's been generated from that specific school, we then do the calculation and we pay back up to 40% of that revenue back to the schools. Now, thus far, Keith, we've over 660,000 Rand has been reinvested by D6 Group back to the schools to say thank you at the end of the day, because we want to connect community, brands, advertisers together with the schools, get relevant offerings in front of the parents at the end of the day. It's non-invasive advertising. It's not going to irritate the parent with banners popping up. It looks like a busy evening in Tokyo and everything like that at all. So the advertising is there to really add value at the end of the day for the brand, for the school now as well.
There's got to be a catch. And I bet the catch is that the schools have to go sell the advertising. Am I right?
Keith, the great thing is D6 has got a dedicated sales team who throughout the country who sell that inventory on behalf of the schools. So the schools don't even have to get involved, and we don't even take over any relationship with your local businesses or the local brands that sponsor the school or anything like that at all. We are there to get engaged with those brands, give them the opportunity to advertise at a minimal fee on that specific school. And from there on, the revenue that's been generated, as mentioned, that percentage then gets paid back to the school as well. So no, the schools don't have to get involved. We're looking forward to forming a good relationship with the marketing teams or with the schools, individuals who have contact with those community brands, and then really add value at the end of the day.
No way. I'm struggling to believe what you're telling me here. So the schools do nothing and could potentially earn 40% of the advertising revenue on the app, and they do nothing.
On that specific app for that specific school, that is correct, Keith, yes. Like I mentioned, we really want to start giving back in it, and we have actually been doing it for the last couple of years.
And as you mentioned, I mean, it's more than 600,000 Rand that has gone back to schools. And I can imagine from this revenue stream, schools can actually pay for the integrated system just from that revenue stream. So effectively, we are giving it away for free.
Correct. And look, at the end of the day, if the schools don't want to pay for use the funds for that, they can use the funds. They've got carte blanche how they want to use and allocate those funds at the end of the day. But I mean, you've got a system that's going to add value, make your life so much easier within the management sector within the schools. So yes, you can substitute it and pay for that software as a service.
That is brilliant news. Thank you, Werner. Thank you for sharing this bit of good news with us. And thank you for the initiative that you're driving with ensuring that our schools, that their lives are simplified and that we can create income streams for us. And we all know during COVID how difficult some schools are finding it with school fees not being paid. So any additional income stream is worth its weight in gold. Thank you, Meneer.
Thank you, Keith. Thanks. Appreciate it. Have a lovely afternoon. Thank you.
You too. Thank you so much. Okay, so we've spoken about an additional income stream that the schools can generate from media advertising on the application, but I happen to know there's another way. And another one of my colleagues, Jane, is going to join us in a second. And Jane is going to tell us about an exciting new product that we've launched a couple of months ago. Hello, Jane. How are you doing?
Good, thanks, and you?
Very, very well, thank you. What surprises have you got lined up for us?
I have great surprises. So it basically just continues the discussion that we've been having about community giving back, everybody winning. So the Connect app that's been spoken about, the parents are already in that application if a school has that, because they need to get information for their child. Parents also need service providers. At various times, you need to look good, you need to have your nails done, or your plumbing has gone haywire and you need to get a plumber. So what we've done is put local listings, which is basically a directory. So it's kind of like the yellow pages, into the D6 Connect app. So you don't have to go outside of the app. You're in it already, and you can just go to that tab and look for a particular service provider that is based in your area. So the parents are winning because they're getting contact available for a service provider, because they can phone or email that person directly from the contact details in the listing. The businesses, the small businesses, are winning because they're getting the exposure. And we know a lot of parents within a school have got their own businesses. So it's potentially parents of the school winning as well. And then what we've got is another giving back option to the schools. So the businesses that subscribe to this local listings, they pay 90 Rand ex-VAT per school per month. So they know that once they've paid that money, they are targeting parents within a particular school, and the school gets 50% of that listing cost paid back to them.
Okay, I'm hearing like Santa Claus coming to town again. So Werner said he's going to give you 40%. Are you saying you're going to give me half of the local listings?
Exactly. Yeah.
And
So
give me an example of what a local listing would look like. What kind of people would be interested in listing with us?
So obviously we've sussed out the market of what parents actually need access to. So we've got categories like child-specific things. Parents need tutors for their children, or stationery, or school clothing. We've got all the health and fitness options. We've got medical. We've got home services. There's always something, unfortunately, breaking in a home. So all of the things that a parent would be needing is there as an option. And so all of those type of businesses have the option to list.
Okay, so the way local listings work is it's essentially you can reach out to parents in the school that have businesses that want to advertise those businesses to the other parents in the school. And when they do that, the school gets a 50% cut.
Precisely.
What's the catch?
There isn't a catch.
No way. The school must go out to the parents and push them and say, come on, advertise or something. There's got to be some catch.
If they would like to, because obviously the more eyes there are there, the more listings there are, the more the school benefits. But we have got a team. We generally get contacted by people who've seen our name on our website anyway. So we get leads that come in that we've got a team that contacts. And then we've got a team that actually call businesses in and around a school. So it's not that the school has to do that. If they want to assist us in passing on those contact details so that we can then make contact to save them that time, that obviously is great and a bigger benefit for the school. But the school themselves don't have to go out and assist the businesses or contact the businesses. We are there for that.
Okay, so where do I find local listings? Is it a different app? Do I need to get different software? Where is it?
No, it's within the Connect app. So in the More tab, it is there, and all the categories are listed alphabetically, and it's very easy to find.
One last question, and then I'm going to let you go. About how much per month can I make as a school if I fill out my local listings?
It's a good few thousand, depending obviously on how many subcategories we have. So it is actually possible for a school to completely cover their costs of the integrated system, because it's a couple of £1,000 that you can then be making based on a full.
Goodness. So again, it's a couple of It's a couple of $1,000 of additional income that a school can make by doing nothing. That is fantastic. Thank you so much, Jane, for sharing local listings with us. It's now 2 products that we've heard about, both the banner advertising and local listings that can make the school some money. Very good chatting with you, Jane, and have a good day.
And you too, Keith. Thanks. You too.
Thank you, Jane. Okay, so just to recap, before we get to our last but definitely not least product, the full integrated system supports the school by saving time, saving money, making things work so much better. And just in the paper savings, you'll probably find that the school will save enough money for the system already. And then we've got all the other great features, which in the Connect app, fully integrated, you can get your financial statements, everything your heart desires as a parent. But at the risk of sounding like a very Mark ad, but wait, there's more. And Ladin, that's why you're here. Ladin heads our rides department, and you're here to tell us about rides.
Yes, thanks, Keith. So not only are we helping schools, we're now also helping parents. And we know that there's working parents, working from home, you're always on an online meeting. You can't fetch your kids every day, every hour, and then drive them to extracurricular activities, which we're very fortunate is now happening again. So we've discovered that there's a great need amongst parents that they are looking for a lift club. And because everything is digital these days, why not a digital lift club? And that is how rides were formed. So a parent came to us and he said, okay, he has 4 kids in 4 different schools, always driving after them.
Sure.
He doesn't really know his neighbors, but he knows more or less the kids in his class or in his, the mates' parents, that he knows who they are, but he doesn't have their numbers. So why not create a platform where parents that are able to offer lifts, load a trip, they're now helping their community, and then the other parents in the school whose number is listed on the school's database, as Annalene mentioned as well, because it's more secure that way, will be able to see the lifts that they can then book for their children. So that's basically let's work together, let's uplift the community, and the school also benefits because a percentage there is a fee attached, and a small percentage of that goes back to the school
As well.
Yes.
So we just keep on
All
giving
about
money.
giving back.
We just give money to schools all the time.
Yeah.
As a commerce student, it doesn't compute, but
Does it make
it's
sense?
all good. This sounds a little bit like almost like an Uber.
Very, very
for school?
similar. Yes. It's like Uber for your school, but only parents are drivers. The school can also load their own transport on there.
Okay.
So it then operates as a management platform. They will be able to see who has booked. They load the amount of seats in the shuttle, and as the parents book, the seats will go down.
Fill up.
And they don't have to. They then load. The parents can load their card details, make payment through the app. So there's no ice cream tub at the bus stop or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's cash free as well.
Okay, give me an example. How would it work for parents? I mean, how do I get in a car? Yes.
Yeah. So what you would do is you would load we call them zip alongs. That's now your child. So you
A zip along.
A zip along.
Okay.
Yeah, zipping along. So you create a profile for your zip along with a photo so that the driver would know, okay, that's your child. But this doesn't get disclosed to the driver unless you have made a booking and that booking has been accepted. So you then go onto the app. It's also in the same app, so no extra software needed. You go to more, you see rides. Okay, you go into your school, you see which parents have listed trips, and then you choose your driver parent. Okay, there's a photo of that parent as well. Then you say, okay, my zip along would like to drive with you. Once you have made that request, the driver then still needs to accept your booking.
Yeah.
And once that happens, you will get a notification to say, well done, little Keith is good to go. And then once that driver starts the trip, you will get another notification to say, I'm on my way. The driver is on his way to pick up your child. And once your child's picked up, you can also track where that driver is going. So you can see exactly, okay, they're on their way to school, they're not going to be late, and that type of thing. Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned that it's only for parents of the school. So because the app is authenticated, we know they're parents of the school. So it's only for parents. So strangers can't pick up your zipper logs.
No, they can't, unless it's a shuttle that we're introducing, which is also part of the school. So it's not then maybe a parent, but it's a teacher.
Okay, what other safety measures are built in? Could you have like a passphrase or anything?
Yes, so there is a passphrase that you put on the app, and that then only becomes visible to the driver once they've accepted the zip along. They will then see, okay, marshmallows, for example, and you tell little Keith, okay, so you only get in the car with the driver that knows this passphrase, marshmallow.
Okay, so enticing kids to ride in cars with candy. That's what
Yeah,
we're saying.
no.
Let's not go with
It's
marshmallows.
okay, goldfish.
Okay.
Okay.
Much better.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you also mentioned that a school can use it as a manager for their own bus systems, and they can log rides there, and it saves parents from driving one child at a time to hockey or cricket or some event somewhere.
And it's eco-friendly.
Yeah.
It's green.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's all part of the app. You mentioned
It's
that
all
as
part
well.
of the app.
So no new software or any special skills that's
Nothing like
required.
The only thing is the parent's number needs to be on the school's database.
Yes.
So we have found that parents come to us like, where's rides? And they will then make contact with the school to say, okay, link me to my child. Of course, the school then knows, okay, it is a parent of the school.
Okay. Would a driver be able to make money off of this?
Yes, but they would need a PDP, a professional driver's license with an operating license. That then verifies that they've got the correct insurance in place, roadworthy car, all of that. By law, we need that. And they can make, quite a fair amount. The fee attached to it is R3 per kilometer because it's a community service. We want to keep it cheap, fairly cheap. We are cheaper than most Ubers. And then that part of that would go to the driver. Part of that would come to the school, a part for transaction fees, and then other extra special insurance as well.
Okay, one last question. What if something goes wrong? Will the school be liable and who's going to cover the accident and hospitalization and all this kind of
that
stuff?
is a question that the schools ask us. So there's no liability for the schools because this is a transaction that happens between parents and at arm's length of the school.
Okay.
Yeah, we only expect the schools to maybe communicate it to their parents to say this is another great extra service that's there for your use, but they're not forced to use it. They can still decide and use their own discretion which parent driver their child is traveling with.
Yeah.
So nothing on the school. Yeah.
Okay, that is good news. Thank you, Lidine.
Thanks, Keith.
That is awesome, and that's another product that can create income streams for the school and also makes life so much simpler by arranging for lift clubs for children that are traveling to some events. I'm joined now by the man that's been pushing the buttons at the back. You could probably be called a floor manager if this was a professional production, sweating away in the corner opposite me. Every time something goes wrong, there's another bead of sweat. Ardis is also our sales manager for the schools team. So a lot of the people that were presenting today report directly to you. How are you doing, Ardis? You surviving the webinar?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Keith.
Okay.
And thank you for everybody joining the session. Really appreciate that.
That is very cool. What have you got for us?
Well, we thought of giving something back to everybody that sits through our session and stay till the end. So we have a raffle prize that we will be giving away.
So we're giving away stuff. I sat through the whole. I was engaged with the whole thing. Is my name in there?
Yeah, that's a coffee and a pat on the back and say thank you very much for that.
Oh, is that it?
That's appreciation.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel very appreciated.
So I'm going to take a name out of this bag, and that will be the winner of our raffle prize. I'm not going to say what the prize is or share what the prize is because that is a surprise. And you will receive that the next 2 or 3 working days.
Okay, so who's the winner?
Let's pick a name.
And the winner is
Teresa Rennie. You're the winner of the raffle prize. You will receive it in the next couple of days.
Congratulations, Teresa. That prize will be in your hands in the next 2 or 3 days. Thank you, Ardis. Appreciate it. Just remember to get me that coffee that you promised me. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our webinar for today. Again, please remember, if you have any questions, now is the last time to ask those questions. But if you want to still ask questions, sales@d6.co.za is the place to go. Also, if you want to see one of the salespeople to come show you a full demo on the system, which is a lot more than what you saw today and a lot more in depth as well, you can also send us a mail to sales@d6.co.za. Also, feel free to visit our website at www.d6.co.za. There's a lot of information on there, and you can find some additional information. Again, just from everybody here at D6, I just want to thank you for joining us in our webinar today and following us. I hope it was informative and that you've learned something or saw something that you'd like to know more about. And for me personally, I'd like to thank the team behind this, so Ardis, Cornette, Kerry, and Annalene. Thank you for all the work you've put in, as well as our product owners and subject matter experts for standing by to help us, the marketing team, and everybody else. So thank you from me. I hope you have a fantastic day. Stay safe and stay healthy, and hopefully we'll chat soon. Have a great day. Goodbye.